What's up, traders? Zach here from the Trading Network. I hope you guys are doing well. I am back at it with another weekly market profile forecast for you guys for both the ES and NQ futures markets. So let's waste no time. Let's talk about some major levels that I will be looking at and paying attention to for some high probability trade opportunity moving into the beginning of the new trading week. And I think most importantly, what I will be looking at, especially considering where we have opened and where we are trading right now, is the lows from Friday on both ES and NQ. So let's talk about the levels on NQ first and foremost, and then we will move over to ES. First level that I'm going to be considering as a major line in the sand level is going to be Friday's low at 12,558. You can see that we also have 12,551 as an overnight low from the second into third session. And then just a little bit below that, we have some nice confluence between, let's see, this is the high from February 1st regular trading hours session, and then we have the overnight point of control from February 1st into February 2nd overnight session, right around that same area at call it 12,528. So this is a very important area, and this is going to be the first area that I will be looking for reaction if we do break Friday's low tomorrow in the regular trading hours session. And then below that, I would be looking at basically 12.5 even, which is that actual overnight low from that first into second overnight session. And then we've got some levels to work towards even further to the downside, starting with 12,370 and a quarter. So that would be my most immediate area of interest to the downside. To the upside, if we do get support in this area at Friday's low, major levels I'm going to be looking at and targeting to the upside are going to be 12,596 first and foremost. Secondly, I will be looking at 12,618, which was Thursday's low. 12,626, that was Friday's point of control all the way down here. And then we've got another nice little zone created by Friday's initial balance low in the Thursday into Friday's overnight point of control here. That zone is between 12,644 and 12,657. So if we do move and hold above that level, I'll be looking at 678, 693, and then very likely 745 and 761. And then, of course, we've got some nice levels from Friday up quite a ways higher. The value area high from Friday is right around 12.8K, and then we've got Thursday's naked POC at 813 as well. So those are the most immediate levels that I'll be looking at, targeting, and we will very likely see some high probability trade opportunity at and to those levels moving into the beginning of the week here. So looking at the NQ weekly profile, a couple things that I want to point out is that we are basically right in between the range or in the middle of last week's range. We are a little bit closer to the upside, closer to the value area high of last week, which is 12,715. So on a more macro scale, I will be looking to see if we can move back and hold above last week's value area high at 12,715. If so, then I will be looking for a larger move up to last week's high at 12,950. And then we have a naked POC to the upside here at 13,095. So quite a ways away at the moment, but we had a huge, almost 1,000 point weekly profile last week. So nothing is out of the question. It is certainly not out of the question to see us move up and touch this naked POC to the upside. And with that said, we also have a naked POC to the downside. Now, of course, we've got levels to work through before we get there, but I think it's important to just point out that we are kind of smack dab in the middle of two naked POCs. So to the downside, if we cannot get acceptance in this area, I will be looking on a more macro level to move down to this 12.3K area. You can see that we have an old point of control all the way back from the week of September 12th, that was. And that is kind of creating a zone between not last week's high, but the weekly high from January 23rd. So call that 12,308 all the way up to basically 12,330. That's going to be an important zone if we do see downside pressure starting in the week or starting at the beginning of the week. So it goes without saying, certainly going to be an interesting week, especially after all of the volatility that we saw last week. Basically saw the biggest weekly range that we have seen in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 2 months. So this weekly profile here from December 12th was over 1,000 points, and last week's regular trading hours profile from the weekly perspective was just under 1,000 points at 989 and 3/4 points. So we are going to have immense opportunity as long as we are able to stay patient, focus on our setups, wait for price to come to these major levels, and line them up with our other technical indicators. And that is how we use market profile on a daily basis to help us seek out and take advantage of high probability trade opportunity. So with that said, let's go on over to the ES session profile here. You'll see it's a very, very similar vibe to what I was just referring to on NQ, where I'm going to be paying attention to the reaction to these lows. You can see that once again, we have a zone basically being created from Thursday into Friday's overnight low, including the Wednesday into Thursday overnight low at 41.36, and then Friday's low at 41.35, all within a couple points of each other. Well, really a handful of points if we're including this 41.32 level. But the reaction to these lows is going to be very telling. If we break these lows, at the least, I would say we're going to test 41.18. And if 41.18 breaks, that's going to offer up a larger move, very likely down to 41.09 and then down to this 40.90 area where we have the overnight high from January 29th. We've got the regular trading hours high from January 30th. We've got the regular trading hours high from the 31st. We've got the overnight high from the 31st into February 1st session. And we've got the initial balance high from February 1st there as well, all within, once again, basically a handful of points. So this right here is going to be a very important zone. And we also have a naked point of control down here as well at 40.78, and that is from the February 1st regular trading hour session. So pay attention to those levels. Very, very likely going to offer up some opportunity, either if we break these areas, targeting, here, and then this zone that I was just referring to. And if this Friday's low, Thursday into Friday overnight low area does indeed hold, once again, I'll be looking at a move back up to Friday's point of control at 41.47, Thursday's low at 41.53, Wednesday's high at 41.63, and then we've got a nice little area here, 41.67-ish, which is Thursday's value area low, and then the Thursday into Friday overnight point of control. Just about 7 points above that, we have that same overnight high from February 2nd into February 3rd, and that lines up, once again, with 1, 2, 3, 4 profile levels. So we have Friday's value area high, 41.77. Once again, second into third overnight high at 41.74. The Thursday's initial balance high, 41.75.75. And then we have the Wednesday into Thursday overnight high at 41.76.25. So once again, that's 4 major market profile levels within the last 2 regular trading hour sessions, call it, lining up within about 3 points of one another. So that is going to be a very, very important area. If we do get upside pressure, that is where I will certainly be looking. Of course, we've got to move through 63, 67 first, but that is where I will be looking at, the more levels that we have stacking up like that, the more of a major area it is. The more weight it holds, the more liquidity is there. And if we can move and hold above that level, that's just that much more telling that buyers are willing to push through an area that was resistance so many times. And if we are getting acceptance above major levels that were previously resistance, that is telling us that the larger players in the market, the other time frame players, as Jim Dalton would call them, are indeed interested in and viewing that area as a fair price to purchase this instrument. So I want to keep that in mind, and I want to, once again, just be flexible, knowing that, of course, we got pushed down and we're at the lows of Friday and Thursday into Friday and Wednesday into Thursday as well, right here at 36. But anything can happen. And the major thing that I'm focusing on is just watching for opportunity at these levels. I don't really care which direction price goes, as long as I'm patient, as long as I'm focused, as long as I'm keeping my edge at the forefront of my mind and my mindset when I'm trading, I'm going to be able to use these levels to my advantage. All right, so now let's discuss the ES weekly levels. Again, very similar to NQ as usual. One thing, I don't have a ton of data loaded on this weekly chart, so I don't have these naked point of controls on the upside on ES, but know that they are there. So we have, once again, we are right at the monthly volume composite POC, or maybe like 15 points below it. Yeah, I think monthly volume composite right here around 41.47. We're currently trading at 41.35. So it's going to be, once again, telling to see if we can move up above this monthly volume composite POC. Once again, that's where the most volume has been done for the last month of price action. So that's a very important level. Move and hold above this 41.47 level very likely gets us to last week's value area high at 41.59, and then acceptance back above value from last week is very likely going to get us a retest of 42.08, which is last week's regular trading hours high. Now, a move and hold above last week's high, very, very bullish. That further confirms that the macro environment is changing, right? We are clearly making higher highs and higher lows. You can see the trend very clearly on the profile for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. And once again, it's important to keep in mind that when the macro environment shifts, that's going to at least very slightly affect our intraday price action, right? The buyers are going to be stronger, generally speaking. People are going to get more and more hurt the more that they try to fade these uptrends, thinking that the bear market isn't over. Even if the overall macro bear market isn't over, we are certainly now in an uptrend at the very least, as we are now making higher highs and higher lows on a daily chart. We have put in bullish divergence and a higher low on the weekly chart, and we are seeing follow through from that weekly confirmation. So it's very important to consider that the macro environment has at least temporarily shifted. Is this the low? Is this the macro low for the next year, 2 years, whatever? Who knows? That remains to be seen. But once again, as long as we are present with the current price action and with who is currently in control in the market, both in the macro and the micro environments, that's how we can use this information to our advantage and make sure that we are staying focused and not getting chopped up or too strongly biased to either side. So with that said, watch the reaction to this 41.60 level. If we get above 41.60, look for a larger move up to 41.10-ish. And if we get rejected from 41.60 moving forward into the week, look for first and foremost a test of 41.10. And that is not last week's high, but the previous week of January 23rd, that high from that week right there. So if we break that, 40.88 is where I'll be looking, and then back down into last week's point of control at 4,070. And then if that breaks, I'd really be looking for a larger move down into this weekly naked POC to the downside here at 4,028, which also lines up with last week's low at 40.2950. So just to be clear here, the point of control from the week of January 23rd at 40.28 is lining up within, about a point and a quarter of last week's low. So that's going to be a very, very critical area to hold for the bulls. If we lose that area, very likely, in my opinion, down to 39.60-ish, which is once again the low from the week of January 23rd. So keep an eye on those areas to the downside. Once again, as long as you are staying patient and watching what happens at these levels, you're very likely going to have some high probability trade opportunity coming at you very, very quickly into the week. So just be patient. Most immediate areas on the weekly chart, 41.09, 41.60-ish. If we're going back to the market profile here on the session basis, then watch basically 41.30. If 41.30 breaks, 41.18 to the downside, first target. And if 41.30-ish holds, 41.47, 41.46 right here, and then 41.53.25 would be my most immediate upside targets. So keep an eye out for those levels to get some reaction upon open tomorrow. Now, with all of that said, let's quickly hop over to the weekly chart, and I will discuss some of my thoughts as far as the candlestick charts go. All right, so a couple things I want to point out here is, as I mentioned briefly a couple of minutes ago here, we are getting continuation from this bullish divergence, higher low confirmation. You can see that we are now trading above the 50 EMA on the weekly chart. We have tested this prior swing high here from May-June area, and that is right around 12,900. Initial reaction was rejection, but if we do push above that area, I will be looking for a much larger move up to about 13,700. That's on a much higher time frame basis. Of course, this is the weekly chart, but that's where I would be looking if we do push through this this 12.9K level. I will be looking for a move to 13.7K-ish. Now, what I also want to point out is that we have upside pressure and upside momentum on the oscillators. We are getting a curl and a cross up of the BBWP, which is our volatility oscillator on the weekly, showing that expansion is indeed likely. So if the expansion is lining up with the momentum oscillators, that is signaling further expansion to the upside. So keep that in mind. One thing that is just a little bit of mental masturbation, as Crown would say, is I have scoped out this little pattern here. And although it is riding the line, this could very well be a bull flag on the weekly, Now, once again, this is just something that I wanted to point out. It would take a very long time to play out. But if this structure holds, we could have a measured move that goes all the way up to right around 19,500. Now, it could take years to play out. But if this pattern does hold, this is a valid bull flag on the weekly chart, in my opinion. So how, for those of you not familiar, how you take a measured move from a bull flag is you measure the distance of the flag pole itself, and you take that and you place that at the bottom of the flag, which you've seen that I've done here. So I've taken this measurement. This measurement is this flag pole. I've placed it at the bottom of the flag, and it gives us a measured move of, yes, 8,670-ish points. So I don't, I'm not saying that I am extremely bullish biased. I'm saying that this is a pattern that I recognize and that I trade on both macro and a micro scale. And if this plays out, this would be the measured move for this bull flag. Now, if we go over to ES, I will show you guys the same thing. The bull flag actually looks even better on ES, if I do say so myself. So you can see here, very, very similar structure on ES weekly. Boom, we've got the bull div. Boom, we've got the higher low. We're getting that continuation. First initial rejection, very, very similar area. On ES, it was about 42.20-ish. If we push through 42.20-ish, I will be looking for a move up to this 43.30 area. And once again, we've got upside momentum on the Z cube. That's part of our proprietary indicator package. You can find more information on the Trading Network website. And we have, once again, BBWP curling and crossing up, showing that a volatility expansion is very likely. Now, volatility expansion on the weekly chart, just to show you guys what happened when we got a similar structure. Check this out. Volatility expanded, and we got this big old move to the downside of about 1,000 points on ES. That's no joke, right? So that basically started our downtrend. Is this same signature going to start another uptrend on the weekly? That remains to be seen, but I am certainly leaning towards that based on the information that these tools are giving me. That's nothing more, nothing less. The information that I am getting from these tools are telling me that probability is shifted to the side of further upside pressure because, of course, the momentum oscillators are pointing to the upside. We've gotten bullish divergence, we've gotten a higher low, and we have seen a little bit of continuation. So might take a while to play out, but once again, if this bull flag structure holds, this is a basically 2,100, call it a 2,200 point move on ES. And once again, it could take multiple years for this pattern to play out. If it did play out, it probably would take, a year or two at least. But this is a pretty clean bull flag, and I'm sticking with that analysis. And this bull flag will not be invalid at the very least until or unless we break this low right here that we've just established. This is the higher low that was that came after the bullish divergence on the weekly chart. So that would be my invalidation point for this bull flag for what it is worth. Now, I hope that this information helps you guys get a nice structure and set a good foundation for the week moving forward. I hope that you can utilize these levels properly, be patient, and watch for price to come to these levels, and don't blindly trade them. Watch the reaction. Watch them line up with your other tools. For example, let's just say that we have a market profile level, right here. Let's just say that this is a market profile level. I want to give you guys an example. I don't do this too often, but I think it's important to show you guys how I'm using this stuff in real time. Check this out. Price comes down to the market profile, puts in, this is the 377 tick, mind you, right? We just had a very similar pattern on the weekly chart, and that should be evidence that these patterns and these setups and our tools in the Trading Network proprietary indicator package work on any time frame, any asset, doesn't matter. So with that said, call this a market profile level. You see price come down, put in bullish divergence. Then we have the oscillator structure, curl and cross up, confirming once again that we have bull div here. Oscillators curl and cross to the upside, gives us nice candlestick structure, and we get a beautiful move back to this swing high, back to this swing high, back to this swing high, back to this prior area that was previously support. Now we tested that and it acted as resistance. But this is an example of how you can use these levels and levels similar to this. And just so you guys know, this is a market profile level, right? This is Thursday's low. So this is no coincidence right here. And this is how you can indeed use these market profile levels and our daily trade plans that we release every single day for free, 30 minutes or an hour, or 30 minutes to an hour after the open, to your advantage. So if you guys are not aware, we release trade plans based on market profile analysis every single day. We have key levels, we have target levels, we have structure, we have expected moves. So you guys can get access to that for free on our Instagram, on our Facebook page, 30 minutes to an hour after the open. Or if you are in our private Discord or are interested in joining our private Discord, you can get access to these trade plans 30 minutes before the open every single day to get even further of an advantage from this analysis. So with that said, guys, I hope that I've given you some great levels to take trades off of and keep an eye on moving forward into the week. I hope that you enjoy this content, and if you do enjoy this content, please feel free to like, subscribe, and click that bell notification to be notified every single time that we post videos here on the channel. If you guys would like to learn more about what we do here in the Trading Network, check out thetradingnetwork.io, where you can purchase access to our most popular offering, the TTN Pro Trader Bundle, which includes lifetime access to our private Discord, our proprietary indicator package, as well as our Fundamentals of Futures Trading course, where I discuss our opportunity zone strategy for trending environments and our momentum flip strategy for ranging environments. If you guys have any questions, you can also email us at info@thetradingnetwork.io. You can purchase all of those products standalone on our website, as well as one-on-one mentorship with me. And if you need any assistance with any of this analysis, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, shoot us an email at info@thetradingnetwork.io. Drop a comment down below, message us on Instagram, and we will get back to you as soon as possible and help any way that we possibly can. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you very much, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.